These are the Oraimo Freepods 4. They were released earlier this year. I finally got my hands on them, and here's my review of them. And I also got to ask some of you what you wanted to know about them on my Instagram stories, and I have answered everything in this video, so let's get right into it. Starting off with the unboxing experience felt pretty premium. You're first presented with the earbuds. You get some manuals. Right beneath you get the charging cable, which is green and it looks really nice, and it is a Type-C cable, which you love to see. Then finally some extra ear tips. Now you're presented with the case. Now this is a complete redesign from how the Freepods earbuds usually look. Starting off with the case, this time it is circular, it has rounded edges, and it slides up to open in a very satisfying way, and it sounds very satisfying. And you can also see the earbuds also look different. They have this black and white color and the Oraimo branding right there, which makes them look unique and it differentiates them. So if you see somebody on the street wearing these, you can definitely know that these are the Freepods 4 because they look really unique. So that's something to appreciate about their design. Still on design, one little thing that you have to notice is that you cannot open this case from any other side. You have to place the case with the Oraimo sign, our branding upright, and then you slide to open. Right, like that. So you can't open these when you're not looking at them naturally, so you kind of have to look at it and then ensure that the Oraimo is facing upwards, and then you open them like that. And unfortunately I do not have the Oraimo Freepods 3 for reference, but I'm going to be referencing these bad boys that I also reviewed early in the year, the Oraimo Riffs. So these have been my daily driver and I'll be making reference to them. The design looks kind of similar to what the Freepods 3 look, just that the case is smaller, but the Oraimo Freepods 3 case is kind of bigger but looks kind of this way. These earbuds are quite comfortable. They fit quite nicely in my ears. Of course, if they don't fit well, you are given the extra ear tips, which you can always exchange out. But for me, the ones right there just fit me well. They don't fall around whenever I'm sleeping. If I'm lying on one side, they are not loose. They're quite good. And as I had mentioned, they look quite nice and unique. And they stick around on the case quite nicely. They always fit back in the case quite nicely. And they attach magnetically. If I just do this, you can see it just snaps back in, and it's something satisfying and something to appreciate about them. The headliners for these earbuds is that they came with ANC, which is active noise cancellation, and a few other features which I'll talk about in the course of this video. So these earbuds have app support both on iOS and Android. The app is called Oraimo Sound, and this is where you have most of your controls. So you have to create an account to the app, and they link quite well with Google. Then you have to pair them, and it does this pretty easily. And once you're in the app, this is where you'll find most of the controls. Starting off with the headliner, the active noise cancellation. These do a pretty good job in noise cancellation. I think on the Oraimo website they mentioned that they cancel out 30 decibels of sound, which is nice. Once you turn on noise cancellation, you're going to hear this big transition from noise to a mode of silent mode, where you can hear things from afar. For example, if you're on a busy road, it takes out a lot of that noise, and the only thing you can hear is the sound of cars passing, but from afar. I hope that makes sense. And this is without playing any music. So once you start playing music, you're not going to hear any noise at all, unless it is really, really loud. One way I always like to test this is that for me, whenever I get into a matatu or a bus, I always like to be able to wear my earbuds comfortably without the music from the bus distracting me. And I can confirm that these have been the best at it so far from the earbuds I've owned. Just for reference, I have not owned AirPods. These were my main drivers, the Oraimo Riffs, and a bunch of other cheaper earbuds. But these ones have been great so far. If there is loud music in the matatu or the bus, these are just going to do the job quite well, and you are going to love them. Having mentioned that, let's talk about the sound quality. So I wish I had the Freepods 3 for reference, but I'm just going to be making the reference to these Oraimo Reefs. So do these sound better than the Oraimo Reefs? Not really, but here's the difference. The Freepods 4 have the app support, and there is an EQ within the app, and that is where most of the difference comes in. These do not have app support and they do not have an EQ. So if you do not turn on the EQ on the Freepods 4 within the app, you will hardly hear any difference between the two. But once you turn on the EQ and then you create your own custom one there, or you just use the ones that have already been set there for you. For me, I prefer rock. I find it having a better balance of the bass and the vocals. That is when you'll hear the big difference, and that is where these will demolish these ones, and I'm pretty sure will sound better than the Freepods 3. I can't confirm that because I have not used them, but these sound great. The EQ makes a big difference regarding the sound quality, and yeah. The other mode is transparency mode. It also works pretty well. For reference, transparency mode allows you to be aware of your surroundings when you're still listening to music. It usually uses the microphone to pick up the sound from the surrounding and then play those sounds through your earbuds. This is great if you want to be in a situation where you want to be fully alert, but for me, I find it to be really loud. I just prefer having the noise cancellation off, both modes off, and that way I can still be aware of my surrounding. But anyway, it's a personal preference. I don't prefer having transparency mode on, but that just confirms that it works pretty well. But I find it picking up the external sounds quite loudly. Within the app, you'll also find game mode, which is a low latency mode that allows you to game while the video and audio are in sync. I love the controls on these earbuds because the right and the left earbud are responsible for different things. So for example, the right earbud by default is usually for music controls, for example, playing the next song, pausing and going to the previous song. And the left earbud by default is for volume control. Now within the app, you can change this up. You can customize if you want the left one to have the music controls and the right one to have the volume controls. But the reason I love the control so much is that this black area is where you're supposed to press to control. So whenever you press it, it makes a beep sound, which allows you to know that you have pressed it. That feature was never available here. One other thing is that there's also a voice that allows you to know whenever you have connected, whenever you swing between modes such as transparency mode, game mode, ANC. The voice will also tell you transparency mode, and active noise cancellation mode, and game mode, and all that stuff. Now let's talk about the battery life. These are advertisers having 8.5 hours and an additional from the case of 27 hours with ANC turned off, and 7.5 hours and an additional 22 hours with ANC turned on. I can confirm that that is true and the battery life is legit. So realistically, I have not had them for 7 hours straight or 8 hours straight, but I had a session where I had them on for around 2.5 hours straight, and they were at 100% and they just dropped down to around 70%. So if you do the maths, it kind of goes to around the hours they indicated, and the case really holds up a lot of charge. I have charged this twice. I have had this for 18 days now, and I charged them the first one, and I think one other time, I think a week later or so, and they still have around 44%. I can actually confirm that right now. And as you can see right there, I was just quite off. They are at 35%. So you can see that the case really does a really good job. Having charged them twice in around 18 days is really impressive. I had also mentioned earlier that these do connect to your Google account. So if you lose them, you can easily look for them in the Find My Device app. But they do not have the option to play a sound in case you lose them. At least in my case, I have not seen that option. And also if you lose them, it doesn't give out a pinpoint location of where these are in case you lose them. It will just kind of give an estimate of where you are, most especially just where you are, your location in the house, but not the exact location inside the room. The mic also sounds good in phone calls. I can't complain. If you watched my review on the Oraimo Reefs, you remember I said that the mic on these are not good. So these do a pretty good job in that. and these do have a pop-up animation whenever you open the case. The FreePods 4 are also IPX5 rated, which means they can handle moisture from intense workouts, or you can run in the rain without them getting damaged. So now the price. When these were launched, they were launched at a price of 7,000 Kenya shillings, and it is now 3 or 4 months later since they were released, and just about 2 weeks ago when I bought them, the prices were reduced down to 4,500 shillings on the Oraimo website. That is a really good price for these. Fun fact, some other retailers are actually selling these for around 3,800 shillings. I had a friend actually buy them for that, and that's why I actually bought them. So these being released at 7,000 shillings and now being sold at 4,500 shillings or cheaper, in my opinion, these rank as one of the best budget earbuds you can buy this year. With all the features they offer, they have good ANC, good transparency mode, amazing battery life, they sound good with app support, and just everything about them for such a cheap price. I can totally recommend these for that price. So unless somebody proves me wrong in the comment section and tells me earbuds that cost 4,500 shillings with active noise cancellation, transparency mode, around a total of 35 hours of battery life, and be able to sound good and look good, I am convinced that these are the best budget earbuds with ANC this year. So if these have impressed you, I have put the link in the description for you to buy them if you're interested. And as I had mentioned in the video, I had done a review of the Oraimo Reefs, which is the video right here, and I recommend you to watch it. That is if you want a cheaper option than 4,500, and that video is right here. See you there.